to go over Navigating WordPress, the roadmap. So this is going to be all about the history, what to expect, what's coming next. And we got our expert, that guy, Greg. So a lot of today is going to be about questions. But Greg, introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. I'm Greg McKinnon with the Original 72 Creative, and we're a full-service website graphic design and digital marketing firm in Vancouver.
Interesting. And I'm Pip, as you know, Seymour Digital Media, and we collaborate because marketing is a group effort. So if you're joining us, pipe in, say hi at some point, and we should be shared into the group and then pinned to the top of the group. So if you're not seeing us or you're looking for us, come join the Facebook group, Cyberpunk Geeks Marketing Mixer. We have a secret, which we'll tell you at the end, because we'll share our secret. Then it's not a secret, Greg. That's not a secret.
Not a secret.
Not a secret. Okay. Okay, Greg. So why this came up? I'm like, why? This topic came up because you seem to pay attention to everything WordPress. And you started talking about it and you mentioned the originator's name. And so I kind of wanted to go first through the history of WordPress, how it started, even how you got involved. So take it away.
Yeah, I do try as much as possible to stay up on WordPress, everything WordPress, since I'm building WordPress every day. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult to keep up with what's going on just because I'm in the daily building of sites constantly. So news and things like that, I got to find time for. But this topic kind of came out of the last release of WordPress 6.6 when the community, there seemed to be a little bit of I don't want to say backlash, but a disappointment with some of the WordPress community on the direction and where WordPress is going or how it's being developed. And people were I saw some people talking about whether or not they thought Automatic was really driving the development of WordPress based on Automatic's goals as a business, as opposed to the WordPress community as an open source platform and input from the community. Initially there was a couple of things that came out when 6.6 was released, but I haven't heard as much in the last little bit, but there was sort of a flurry of questions on, the direction and who's steering WordPress.
So WordPress is a open source software, right?
Yes.
And you mentioned a company that owns it, or how does that work? Because open source means anyone can go and edit it or use it.
There's not a... So Automatic is a company that basically is developing WordPress, the open source platform, with the community.
Okay.
And Automatic is also a business that gets clients on WordPress so there's WordPress.com, which is the Automatic version, the Automatic company who gives you websites on the WordPress.com version, which is a paid service. And then there's WordPress.org, which is the open source, just download WordPress and do everything yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So Automatic runs WordPress.com, and you can pay them to get your site. It's a slightly different flavor of WordPress. There's some things that are locked down, like you can't go to WordPress.com and do whatever you like you could with just downloading WordPress.org. completely yourself and just doing whatever you want to it, kind of a thing. So
Now, yeah, because on WordPress.org, you can make a WordPress blog, right? With Word, it would be whatever your username or whatever your name you want is .wordpress.com, right? Oh wait, that's the .com, not the .org.
yeah, WordPress.org is just the place where you can learn about WordPress, the open source content management system, and download the software and see plugins that are available and themes that are available for it, all completely free. WordPress.com is where you would go, where you could. It's like the Shopify kind of a thing. You go to Shopify, you sign up, you start paying monthly or whatever package you want, and they kind of hold your hand and they do things for you. And it's all hosted there, and you can select templates from their,
We
premium
don't recommend.
templates there, and get assistance from the WordPress.com people to build your site. It's a more catered
Yeah. Do
type
you?
of
We don't
service, but it's
recommend.
a pay service. Whereas the WordPress.org, you just download it yourself. You can install it on whatever host you like. Build all your stuff yourself.
Mhm. And you don't? Do you recommend them as a host? I don't usually. They're not my first go-to.
I mean, no, I don't think I would say that there's lots of places you could host. Hosting is kind of a dime a dozen. There's lots of good reputable hosting. It really depends on your budget and your needs for your site.
So, are you saying that the company that owns WordPress.com makes all the decisions for WordPress.org, or is it the community that makes the decisions about how the open source is going?
Well, that was what came out of that last release. Was some people were trying to, were suggesting that maybe Automatic, the company behind WordPress itself, has who and does most of the development of the application. Maybe they have more, obviously they have more input and direction into where the application is going, but is it too much because they are a business and it is an open source application, and how much are they actually listening to input of the open source community on suggestions and where WordPress is going, or are they really looking at WordPress as, this is where we want to take it, this is where we are taking it, and maybe not as listening to the open source community and people who use it where they want it potentially to go, features and stuff like that.
So, give me an example. Like, where is the community wanting to go, and what's the company doing, and how? Like, do I guess a lot of people feel this way about WordPress, right? And about the direction. And how does the community have any pull? I guess is another question.
Well, the community should have pull. It's an open source application, and WordPress should be developed based on what the users in the community want the application to be, within sort of like a guideline. Like the WordPress community can't just be like, oh well, we want it to be like this now, and go off in some complete different direction. Like, so Automatic is there also to make sure that the overall goal of the application is achieved. So I would say I don't know how much input they actually do take from the community, and this is why the question came up. Um, so one of the things that I had heard about was basically they're developing the block editor and block themes, and a lot of the interface on the development to move that direction for WordPress has a much different user interface for all of that new functionality. And so some of the community has been sort of crying for keep the admin UI the same throughout. Don't have old UI in some places and then new UI in other places. They kind of feel like for a better experience for all users that the UI doesn't jump around. So if you're using a block theme, part of your WordPress admin experience is what people have been used to for the past probably 5 years,
Years.
and then the new UI for the block editor and block theme is completely different.
Is that what
Um,
I'm seeing when I use, because we use similar programs to you, and I'm now seeing this weird, like, it's all the page
it's a
stuff is
different
all
if it's
it's super different.
Yeah, so yeah, so that's basically the newer admin interface that you're seeing in the
Oh,
block experience, the block theme experience, and so people, depending on where you go at in any section of the admin, sometimes you'll be seeing that new UI, and sometimes you'll be seeing the old UI, and they really are wanting WordPress to be like, if we're changing the UI of the admin interface, change it everywhere. Like, let's not have it mismatched, and because that just confuses people who are trying to use the application.
I agree. Is this where the integration of AI is coming in and confusing things, or is it they've actually made a new interface and this is how they want it to be? Because I know change is hard, and that's sometimes why we don't like things, but I would really like I don't like the new, it feels way more overwhelming to me, but maybe that's just because I'm not a web dude.
hmm I'm I don't think that it has anything to do with the introduction of AI or the use of AI. It's really a case of um, having having a new interface for a, a new feature in WordPress, the block themes, and them not having that new interface throughout the entire application. They've
Mm.
left the old stuff the old way, and they've put the new stuff this new admin interface way. So just they're developing this new stuff and implementing a new UI layout in that, but not touching any of the old. And it's causing a little bit of confusion, I think, when people are using the block theme, because, like you said, you get in there and all of a sudden you're presented with this new layout,
I thought it
and
was
it
me.
works it works differently than the old UI, and having both in there, I find is causing confusion for people.
I did feel really confused. Actually, pretty overwhelmed and just like, I just got to get what I need done. I don't understand what's going on here. When did we add a new plugin I didn't know about? That's what I actually thought. So, isn't that funny? Because I do notice there's some AI integrations in there. I'm not sure about the automations. And what about the themes and customizations? Has that changed?
Yeah, well, for the block themes, definitely you're getting that new UI experience, and the way that you develop your site using a block theme is completely different from how you used to use a traditional theme that has the customizer, where you just go into the customizer and you have the side a panel of a bunch of sections where you can click into, and okay, I can change my colors here, I can change my fonts here, I can change my
What
post
you want.
layout there, and that type of stuff. The block theme editor is basically creating your entire website in that block theme builder experience.
Is that going to get rid of themes then, or no? Like, how's that going to work? Ooh, good.
Themes will definitely be more lightweight because really a theme will be a set of styles that you maybe have predefined. But where you add your navigation, where you add your logo, the way you set up your headers and footers, it's all done with the block building experience instead of it being pre-programmed into the theme and then just going through settings to turn things on or off. You're actually building it yourself with
Mhm.
the blocks available in the block builder.
Will that make it? Oh goodness. Uh-oh. Hold on one sec. Can you reach out to Rena because she's calling, so which means there might be an issue. Because she knows we're live. Um, so yeah, we'll get that checked right away. That is quite interesting. So I'm wondering, when you say the themes are more lightweight, does that mean they'll be faster, or like what about Elementor or the big heavy ones that people use?
Yeah, so page builders, if you're using a page builder, you will still have an old style theme,
Yeah.
not a block. You can't.
Okay.
Maybe I shouldn't say that. I would assume if you're using a block theme, you're probably not going to use a page builder like Elementor,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
you probably still could,
What
and
about?
just use the block theme to build your header, footer, and theme style. But
Mhm.
then when it comes to the page building out your pages, you could probably still use your preferred um, page builder instead
Okay.
of the blocks. But I would assume most people, if you're using a block theme and building your site with blocks, you're probably going to build your entire site with the block builder, not install another page editor to
Like,
do
okay,
that.
so like we're talking the beaver builder, is that done then? Or I had the muffin builder. I liked Origin, site Origin, was the builders I use. So builders are kind of gonna be passe. Ooh, that's a good
Um,
question.
WordPress is trying to move um, towards a system that you don't need those.
Okay.
That's the whole reason behind the block editor, is to basically get your page editing abilities up to the same as what these page builders could do, the flexibility that they had.
Mhm.
um, so so I do see eventually WordPress will go and people will just get used to the block editor
Mhm.
and not bother installing a page builder, because the block builder basically does 90% of what those page builders do.
Okay, so there's a couple really big things in here before we get to like security and third party integrations and all that. But so what happens to people who, like, business owners or people that manage their own sites, which no, you shouldn't. Um, I've learned, just so you know. But for those people that have like a website design and stuff, and the block builders come into play, and business owners sometimes, or people want to mess around and learn, right? Especially for people who learn. Um, so is there going to be this cross between like some pages are going to have the block builder and some pages will be the theme builder, and there'll be like it'll be a mismatch of stuff in there.
Well, think of it as two different things, right? You can pick a traditional theme or you can pick a block theme,
Okay.
right? The only difference is how the theme gets set up, how you create your menus, your headers, your
Mm,
footers, your overall theme styles, right? You can go the traditional route, which basically gives you a lot of people are using really highly customizable themes where you can go into the customizer and pick colors and set fonts and
yeah.
you know tick on or off a bunch of settings that make the overall theme look and act slightly different
Yeah.
depending on how you do it. The block theme is essentially a complete um, do anything you want. Um, so it is a step up from current themes where you're basically picking from settings, but maybe have not complete control over the entire header or footer or other elements of the theme. The block themes, you build it completely from scratch with the block editor. Okay. And so that's all theme related. Then, when you're actually building pages or creating posts on your site, then you can also use the block builder to create those pages on your site, right? Because that's the content within the page, not the header, footer, theme related stuff. So it's basically just a progression for WordPress to further implement the block editor within WordPress to give you that high customization option to do and set up your site however you want, all using the block editor. You're muted.
Do you like the the most common phrase now said in the world,
You're
according
muted.
to digital? So, do you like the block editor?
I have been using the block editor ever since it was released because I am more of a WordPress purist. I try not to install plugins just for the sake of installing plugins.
And
As a
speed?
web dev- as a web designer, web developer for over 20 years, when I've built WordPress sites, I had maybe more ability to set up websites for clients where they didn't just okay I set it up, here's a theme that we've created, and then go put all your content in that one big text block that used to be available for WordPress, right? I was able to set things up so that clients could have different layouts and do things without the use of page builders. When page builders came around and gave you a little bit more flexibility on how you could style and create your content on your page, it was just such a drastic change from that big, text block that you could just do from former WordPress, like old WordPress, that people were like, oh my God, this is amazing. We can do all these new layouts. So they became super popular really, really quick. But I never used them because I was able to, as a developer, create more advanced layouts for clients that, and tell them, put this stuff into the editor, put this into this section using custom fields. We'll create the page layout. The page layouts didn't come out cookie cutter like most WordPress sites. So I never used the plugins for page builders and was kind of against them always because I knew how heavy they were, how much code they loaded on the site, and and drag down your page speeds and things like that.
Mm.
But then when the block editor came out, because WordPress saw the progression of how people wanted to edit the flexibility of editing their content and creating layouts, they introduced the block editor so that it had similar functionality to be able to do those more advanced layouts like the page builders. Because it was default WordPress, I just started using that for creating all of my pages and sites.
Okay, what about the like so for instance, I know you use Cadence. Will you still be using Cadence once the block editor is like full in there?
Well, it is full in there, and I do use Cadence as my starting point to customize sites for clients, and I completely use the block editor with the assistance of an additional block plugin to extend the block options
Ah,
within WordPress, because Cadence has a block plugin to give you more advanced features of blocks to throw into your site.
okay. And what are some give me an example of a more advanced feature.
Well, the default blocks, for instance, for just a paragraph of content or a heading, the default block is either a heading block or a paragraph block. But the settings that you can use for those blocks, you can change the color, you can change the size, you can
Mm,
bold, you can do
what
normal
you
things
need.
like that for text. But if you install an advanced block plugin like Cadence Advanced Blocks, you can use a similar text or heading block that give you way more options to style the text, change it to a paragraph, change it to a span, a div,
Okay.
a heading, have a background color, have highlighted text. There's
Mm,
just a lot more options that you can have with it, because the default one is still a little bit more limited in the settings that you can
mm,
use to make changes to that block's functionality or layout or style.
yeah. How does the community feel about all the changes, really? You think, on a general level?
All the changes to like
WordPress.
WordPress
Yeah.
itself, I think for the most part, the direction of WordPress is still good. The question was really like, what is maybe the order of where things are going, you
Mm,
know, and um, and also depending on the user feedback and the community, how much is that being considered for things that are being put into WordPress.
mm. Do people often, you think, send them in suggestions or anything? Can you
Oh,
send
all the
suggestions?
time. Yeah, I mean, WordPress is like the number one CMS in the
It
world,
is
right?
too,
It
yeah. And I mean,
powers almost 40% of the internet. So I'd be shocked if there's not a ton of.
that's
Uh,
a big market share.
it's huge.
Yeah, and isn't it funny because I mean it is my preference like when you talk about SEO and things like that. It does come down to tiny things that make me prefer I like more control. And I think that people use other things because they think that they don't have to worry about things like image weight and things like that, but they do,
Yeah.
which we've learned. But I just wonder, like, how are they maintaining market share? Because they must have lost some over the years with like Squarespace and Wix and Magenta and like Magenta might not be one. Is it one? Drupal. Drupal's kind of passe. Yeah, they didn't make it. They're like the BlackBerry of Canada.
Is that what they call them? I don't know. I never
No, no,
really
no.
think
That's just
about
what I'm saying.
Drupal.
That's so mean. I'm so sorry. I don't know.
Yeah.
Drupal was overwhelming for me. But there are people that there's a lot of content management systems, CMSs, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, Zoho has one even.
I think because WordPress's beginnings started in 2003, we're like 21 years into this application, and because it was open source and anybody could download it and use it, it just, you know, is by far the most used application and continues to be.
Yeah, and that says something about market share at the beginning, and I think that's why some advertisers try to target small beings, right?
Hmm.
But yeah, there's rules against that. Um, let's quickly dive. We're over. Damn, we missed accessibility and inclusivity and what they're doing there, and yeah, and then business and enterprise. And I think we got most of it all, though. I'm really excited about using the new theme. I think a lot of people are, or block editor, but Greg, I'm gonna probably need your help. Yeah,
Okay.
with all of it because it is a little bit more now. So if y'all are looking for a web designer, I don't know if you know, but this guy Greg, he's all right. He's all right. So Greg, before we leave, I did
Oh, you got muted again.
that was weird. I didn't. Oh, maybe I'm not supposed to say anything. Okay, well, unless you watch the replay or you're here with us now, you won't know this, but we're gonna change things up. We're just working on some stuff, but I think we are changing our group name because we've been around for a while, and we think it's time for a change. Greg, we're not. Are we telling people yet?
Well, we could just tell people that maybe we're changing because Cyberpunk Geeks Marketing Mixer is a little bit of a tongue twister. I don't know.
It is a tongue twister. It is. It's. I always say great name because I came up with it, but great, great or long funny name, but great people. But it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't really match us anymore. Or we just have some things we want to change, and it's time for a refresh.
Yeah,
So
I think the new name for me is basically going to be more a straight to the point. This is who we are without the like trying to be a cyberpunk or a geek or whatever.
yeah, I was gonna go for a cowboy theme, but poo pooed. You guys poo pooed it, and I don't really dig cowboy music, so there's that. But okay, besides all that, so we'll talk about that more later. We're gonna go, but do you know what's going on next week?
I know it because I'm doing it.
What is it?
It's going to be all about improving user experience, navigation, and usability on your site.
Ooh, I'm so coming to that. And are we talking accessibility too?
Um, Maybe.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, and you're doing that with Rena, right?
Yes, Rena.
Woo. All right. So if you're joining us next week or catching the replay, let us know. We would love to know, and we will see you next week. All right. Bye.